You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
At last, we've reached the final Friday of the Maple Leafs season. Talking ethics today, Rosie. Ethical tanking. How you feeling?
Business ethics. Yeah. There's 3 games left. Where have you been the whole time? Ethical tanking is what Florida's done. Man, this is coming down to the wire, though. We got a big one tomorrow.
All I could think about was Billy Madison when I saw Vic talking about ethical tanking in our group chat today, but it's so damn true. They got to lose this game tomorrow, man. This is the biggest game of the season against the Panthers, conveniently enough. What can go wrong?
The biggest game of the season. Who can lose? Oh, God. It's just the Panthers just do everything better. Even now, all of a sudden, they lose better than the Leafs, which is unfathomable this season. But here we are, man. I just don't know if people understand how dire straits the Leafs situation is, how badly they need prospects, how badly they need picks. Like, when the next time are they going to be in the bottom 5 to get a top 5 pick? Like, go look at the top 5 picks over the last, I don't care, 20 years. They often turn into serious franchise type players. And they didn't even, we just don't tank. Okay, Mr. Glasses, you don't tank. You're so special. You're so fucking special. Everyone else is tanking like crazy because it's just going to be so fruitful. You have one opportunity to do something that will help you out of this disaster, and you're above it. Okay, well then just shut the fucking doors, because what are we doing here? I can't believe the last 10 games, they haven't done anything to help themselves. It's shocking, and I'm terrified at how close this is coming down to the bottom 5.
Again, that's Jay Rosehill. I'm Nick Alberga. This is the Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. Hockey fans, check out Bet365's 3-goal early payout. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Man, I've become a full-fledged Seattle Kraken fan. Like, I was laughing last night. I've watched more Kraken games in the last 2 weeks than I have since that team came into the league. They're so mid. Like they are so mid. And it's hilarious to me, being a Leafs fan, that Bob McMahon is starting OT for that team. He's got 9 goals and 14 outings for them. Like, it's insanity. But it's like, what could have been in Toronto maybe too.
He's a beast. Yeah, we'll go pay him $5.5 million, and then talk to me next year. Yeah, it was still the right move. It sucks we couldn't get a first, but yeah, he's popping them all the time, man. And that was pretty awesome to see them pull that out yesterday. It's weird. Like, you could help yourselves, but you're relying on everyone else to help you. Rangers play Florida here. Is that on Saturday? There's lots of scoreboard watching, man.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate it comes down to this, but hopefully I mean, I hate saying it. I'm not happy about where this team's sitting, but I don't want them to win another game this year. I want them to get outshot 40-2 every period for the rest of the time, which they're fully capable of, watching them play sometimes. But yeah, man, it's down to the wire.
I suppose the cherry on top was the fact that Seattle was down 3-1 to Vegas Thursday night, Mitch Marner's Vegas Golden Knights, and they came back and won that game in a shootout and put them within 1 point of the Maple Leafs. But you talked about it. We laugh about it, big games in quotations. But yeah, it's the Leafs and the Panthers Saturday night. You got Seattle and Calgary on Saturday night. You got the Panthers and Rangers coming up too. And I think Leafs fans are going to be glued to their TVs. Throw Masters out the window right now.
Okay, we'll settle down on that. But yes, look, at the beginning of the year, you thought that this game would be like super important to jockey for position in your playoff spot in the Atlantic. Can you imagine what the odds would be for this game to get into the bottom 5 of the National Hockey League for those two teams? Wild stuff. But again, I can't underestimate. I understand you're kicking that pick down the road to Boston to a different year. The sooner the better. You're losing a year in hell if you get this kid now. I mean, you'll be ready earlier. This is a heavy draft. You won't have a top 5 pick again, presumably. It's right there. It's right there. Get the pick. You get in that top 5, your chances of picking, now we're just down to lottery balls here, but Oh man, I've been fixated on it lately, and it's so funny. The last 12 games of the year, it's just this roller coaster of they're screwed. You can't the tank's off. Oh, the tank's back on, and it goes back and forth. Now that they have the big boys out and Stoley's hurt and everything else that's going on, Wool's gonna play Saturday. Hey, I imagine.
Think so. Yeah.
I hope not. Nonetheless, man, it's wild how much we're watching the scoreboard right now.
I've been steadfast in saying that I don't think a retool is doable. I'm sort of changing my mind on that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I watch what one player has done to the New York Islanders watching the game last night. Matthew Schaefer has just reimagined how we view the New York Islanders in one fell swoop. And I understand from that aspect, things need to change quickly. The Maple Leafs need to get their hands on whoever it may be. It doesn't have to be the first overall pick. They got to hit on their draft pick if they get it. And number two, it gives me hope knowing the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I thought they put out a fantastic video last night about pundits talking about how shit they were going to be this year, and they made the Stanley Cup playoffs. It shows you anything is possible, Kevin Garnett style. It gives me belief. It really does.
Well, it's a funny league, man. We've talked for years that the margins are thin and the parity is pretty wild. I mean, look at what we just talked about, the Panthers and the Leafs. Coming off all the success the Panthers have had, the Leafs winning the Atlantic, absolute bottom feeders this year. You talk about, the pundits saying where Pittsburgh was going to be this year, and they put it together. It's a funny game. It's chemistry as much as any other sport, if you ask me. Finding the right formula that fits the group, and then the group coming together and creating an identity and all doing the same thing together. It's very hard to make it happen, but when it does, it is so fruitful that you can be a team that nobody expected to be good because it's on paper, it looks whatever, but you put it together and it's like, holy smokes, man, these guys are just firing it, and it's fun for that reason. I think it's awesome. Everyone has a chance. You can't rest on your laurels. It's not like F1 where it's just like, well, this team they could just sleep their way through this weekend and they're going to get, a podium finish or a top 5, and this other team could go out their ass and it's like a top 10 is just like they're celebrating like they're, it's not like that. It is, the parity is wild. So we're seeing it this year for sure. It's funny what they have done. Yes, it's funny what everyone's done, but the Leafs are in the spot that they are in for good reason. It needs to be rectified, and they have to help themselves do so.
You talk about chemistry. I watched that Montreal team play last night, and they edged the Tampa Bay Lightning, and there's a 3-horse race for first right now in the Atlantic Division. Is it weird that it doesn't hit me as hard anymore for a guy to score 50 goals? I respect the Canadiens organization. I respect that it's called the Rocket Richard Award. But the jubilation and the celebration, I didn't know how to feel about that for Cole Caulfield getting number 50, albeit I think it's pretty epic and unreal. He didn't score one empty net goal this year. And then you look at Nathan McKinnon's got 1 billion. He scored another empty netter last night. He's got 52 on the year. But I think I've been desensitized to it as a Maple Leafs fan, and Habs fans kill me every day about this. When I see a guy score 69 times in one season and score 60 multiple times, I'm sorry, Rosie, 50 doesn't do it for me anymore. There's a bar that's set in my mind where I actually get excited and intrigued, and it's not 50 goals anymore. How do you feel about the Rocket Richard?
Well, first of all, Rocket Richard had 150-goal season, I believe, and Guy Lafleur had 7. Why is it called the Rocket Richard Trophy? I was looking, I had to rewind, and then I'm like, what? And then I had to look up Maurice Richard, and I'm like, what is going on here? I thought it would be completely flipped. Wild. Guy Lafleur had that many, and I mean, Rocket Richard has 8 Stanley Cups, and he only had one of those seasons for the Habs. Interesting, but yeah, the bar gets moved up a little bit. I mean, what do you think they said back when Solani, a rookie, scored? What did he score? 76 goals or something? Yeah. Start hotter. Jesus.
I think you'd score 8.5 goals in that league with that goaltending, though, to be honest.
That's true. It's funny but they didn't have the Twiggies that they have now. You look at guys fire now, and it's like the goalies can't even react to it. It's so fast. It's like, imagine you could pop it off your stick so fast the goalie physically with time and space and speed times whatever, you can't
What?
even physically
Horizontals, verticals?
Yeah, with integration. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no, 50 is unbelievable. I guess it hasn't changed for me. No, it hasn't changed. You
No.
score 50, that's unreal. You score 50, you're in the race. Look at him. He just got 50 the last 3 games of the year, and he's right there for the Rocket. And he, like you said, McKinnon getting a lot of cookies on empty netters kind of taints her a little bit, to be honest. But I think it's quite the feat, man. It's cool. It's stayed fairly consistent. Like 50 still does it, where when you talk about, I don't know, these goalies, and in the early 2000s when people couldn't score goals anymore and they bring in obstruction because to try to get higher scoring games, you used to have like 2-1 games all the time, and we're like, can we get like a 7-6 game? Hardly existed. The goalies were good and the technology wasn't there. Open up the game a little bit. These guys are hyper trained like crazy kids since the time of 5 years old, and then these twiggies just laser them. It's kept consistent. It's fun. I still think 50 is impressive.
I maintain it should be called the Alex Ovechkin, taking nothing away from Rocco Richard, who is an absolute legend. Different time, different league. But I think you got to evolve if you're the NHL. And Alex Ovechkin has been the best goal scorer on the planet for 20 years or whatever it is. And I think it's time to move that award along. And I think people would think back and be like, Alex Ovechkin, okay, I get why the award's called the Alex Ovechkin. But for me, did you realize that the last 5 Rocco Richard Trophy winners are an Oiler or a Leaf? It's been dominated by those 2 teams, Draisaitl, McDavid, Matthews.
It's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, it goes in spurts like that. We were at the Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago when we were in town, and me and my boys are looking at all the different trophies, and it's just like Lemieux, Gretzky for like 12 years, and Crosby's winning. It goes like that, and I think it's good. You got your superstars who dominate for a period of time, and sometimes there's 2 of them, and they battle back and forth, and the Sid and the Ovi, and Matthews and Leon were going back and forth. I just pulled up Guy Lafleur's goals: 53, 56, 56, 60, 52, 50. Like, what? How is it not called the Guy Lafleur award? That's kind of wild. I did not know Guy Lafleur's goal scoring prowess for the Habs was that much heavier than the Rocco Richard, and then the goal scoring trophy is called the Rocco Richard. It's kind of blown my mind this morning, but yeah, interesting stuff, I guess, man. I don't know who's going to win that thing. It's fun watching the Hart and all that stuff. It seems like it's anticlimactic. Do you watch the awards or like pay attention? I just kind of hear about it in the ether of like who won what. It would kind of be cool if it was, I don't know what else they could do. I think it's just the time of year, everyone's busy and playoff. I don't even know when they give it away, but it's kind of, it would be neat if it was like more of a moment, but
no, they can't do that. They can't. I've been to multiple award shows, dude. They're always in Vegas. They're always shit. Like, I think I actually went to the one in LA. Was it last year? I want to say, no, I don't know. I'm getting the mixed up. I went to one in Vegas a couple years ago, but it's in that pocket between the end of the Stanley Cup final and the draft. It's a throwaway, but I do think this year's a bit different where we're entering the last couple games and a bunch of these awards are not spoken for. Like, they're wide open. The Hart Trophy, even the Norris, I think there's a debate there, although I think it's going to be Zach Werenski. The Vezina, I think, is open still. Like, usually there's a unanimous winner by now. Like, even the Hart Trophy, it sounds like McDavid's back in the fight. The guy is just doing what McDavid does, muscling his team to the finish line here. Had a crazy outing the other night, and it just shows you that guy can win the Hart Trophy every season. I firmly believe that, by the way. He's got like the LeBron factor. I think people get fatigued from voting from this guy every year.
The what factor?
LeBron James factor. He should win that award every year. Should have back in the day.
That guy's dust. Yeah, he's the one. He's the one guy that can like literally just go like and just go mental and just sick. Be like, and you won the game. Like, you won. You beat everybody. You are head and shoulders above everyone else. There's not many players in the history of the game that can do that. He is one of them. It's going to be interesting to see what Edmonton does. They've been inconsistent. Leon being hurt how serious is that? And is he guaranteed to come back for day one of the playoffs? No, but I think that's the speculation or certainly the hope. But that team is, I mean, love them or hate them, whatever. I live in Alberta and I was more of a Flames guy growing up, but it is hard not to watch Edmonton and take interest. And hell, I don't really root for anyone, to be honest, besides the Leafs, but they're very interesting. They're exciting. Their fan base is like as passionate as anyone. They're not as big as the Leafs nation is, but they are super passionate. Those games are unbelievable. They're an interesting team. And I guess we got to start talking about this bullshit because the Leafs season is over in 3 games, and we got to get used to doing shows with them no longer playing hockey, even though it'll be the middle of April.
By the way, our chat's very smart, and I guess Rocco Richard was the first guy to get 50 goals in the NHL. And that's why.
Thanks, Chatty Chat. That's why we got you, kids. The first to get 50. Neat stuff. And then did he never do it again?
There were 6 teams in that league.
I know. That's why he has 11 cups. Oh, no, he got...
Whoa. I don't want shrapnel now. We don't need strays at Maurice Richard on this show, okay?
Okay. Oh, no, that's games played. Yeah, he only got 51s, man. He was the first guy to do it in 44-45.
Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
Crazy, man. So crazy.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, cool. I like it. I like how they, you know what? I don't know how often it happens, but you kind of update the...
Vic, take that off the ticker, damn it.
Maurice Richard, a fraud. Oh, we're really going to fire up the Habs fans today. Yeah, the guy was a bum. And he is not deserving of all this stuff. No, but I mean, Lafleur, holy smokes, man. That guy was nasty. Yeah, so I don't mind that. It makes sense. Gotcha. Thanks, chat. We appreciate you. That's why we keep you around.
Yeah, I think Guy Lafleur did it most of his career with a dart in his mouth, too. That's what made him amazing. And, I don't know where we should go as Leafs fans right now and throw strays at anybody with that Habs organization, considering how dog shit this team is right now. Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show, hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. We got Doug MacLean coming on today's show in about 15 minutes here, Rosie.
Mac Daddy. I know. He's interesting. He's fun. He's kind of half retired, but still pops on some media stuff. And I love it because he's open and honest, and he's got some personality, and he's got some hot takes. So we'll try to pry a couple of those out of him. Looking forward to that. Keep the guests coming. It's fun. We're getting lots of different takes and perspectives, and we're going to continue here with Doug MacLean. Looking forward to it.
He's down in Florida. Maybe he's got the 411 for us on sunny Meta. So that's coming up in about 15 minutes here at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Want to Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to check out theleafsnation.com. This segment is brought to you by Sunwing. Sunwing Vacations helps Canadians save more so they can do more on and off the resort with all-inclusive packages that bundle flights, hotels, and transfers into one easy price, including added perks such as complimentary airport transfers. And Sunwing has partnered with Ocean by H10 Hotels. Vacationers can enjoy pools, direct beach access, and a mix of daily activities on property. For more information in the book, check out sunwing.ca. So how do you think, what do you think of Akhtyamov, and how do you think he was feeling entering that hockey game last night, his first NHL start? Quite the environment to make your first NHL start. And the team really didn't show up in front of him. Wow, that kind of sucks.
I think that he thought, my God, this team is terrible in front of me, because he was getting peppered, especially in the first period. Saw some athletic moves, some good awareness, some good positioning, made the first save a lot of the time. Of course, and I guess I can't be mad at it because that's what we're hoping for. Just zero happening in front of him where, if you look at the numbers or whatever, it looks like an average outing. I thought it was better than what the numbers say, and a different scenario with a different team, different situation. That first save that he made is often going to be cleared, and there'll be a little better defense played in front of him. But I imagine he felt pretty good. He can be proud of it. He got it under his belt. That is valuable experience. Now the next time he does it, he's like, done this before. It's not such a huge deal. And that's going to be potentially valuable come next season.
Outshot 44-16. He makes 39 saves. I just don't know how I can properly analyze this hockey club right now, regardless of who it is. Akhtyamov, Luke Hames, Jacob Quillen. Villeneuve didn't play last night. We thought he was going to make his debut. It is so ugly. It is so unwatchable. And if there's one thing that was reinstilled and reaffirmed me watching the game last night, how the fuck does Craig Berube come back next year? Like, seriously, how could they even fathom the idea of bringing Craig Berube back, considering, I mean, this gauntlet of games, like there's been like 30 of them this year, at least 30 of them. Like you're supposed to be a defensive coach, and I get Matthews is out and I get this guy's hurt. I mean, make every excuse. I don't like that game. Defensively speaking, they have to be one of the worst defensive teams in hockey. All right. The Michel Therrien special. It is entertaining to watch from that standpoint. I know I'm going to get an offense every time I watch this team.
Yeah, I know it's not good. And I don't know, like you said in the chat, are we breaking down games still? Like, I want them to play like dog shit. The only thing that is hurtful is that these games we're watching, there is just so many shades of the previous 80 games in them, you know, and that lack of awareness in your D zone, that disconnected play where it's like they've never gone to the whiteboard, they've never watched video, they don't really have a system or a plan in place. It's just kind of like fly by the seat of your pants. Hopefully that guy can like figure out what the play is happening in front of them and try to get in the right lane. Like, see, NHL, when it works well, it's everybody has bought in and prescribed to a certain situational awareness of like, when this happens, this is what we do. In this situation, here's what we do. And it's a 5-man unit working together for a reason to accomplish a goal of keeping it to the outside or clearing rebounds or, you know, clogging the middle or being aggressive on the walls or creating turnovers. And it's just like they don't really have one. So yeah, as far as, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think like when Craig Berube coached us, like how X's and O's he was and stuff. He's not the most of that in the world, which I'm not saying is awful, but yeah, I still blame the players, but the fact that Craig can't get anything out of these players, that says something. Yeah, I think you need to try to get someone else in there to see if they can get these players out. Again, I have my reservations about that. Let's bring in whoever the hell they're going to bring in if they fire Craig Berube. I hope, but I'm still kind of reserved on the fact that you're going to get anything out of these guys after watching what we just watched this whole season.
Yeah, it's been petrifying. And I'm still trying to figure out a theory why Calle Jarnkrok continues to play and play a lot. He played 16:43. And what I've come to the conclusion too, he's done. Well, it's his boy, number one, but I think this has to be his final NHL swan song. Like, nobody said anything, but it leads me to believe that's why he's in the lineup every night. If not, then Craig Berube should never coach in this league again. Okay, there has to be a reason why Calle Jarnkrok, this guy's getting promoted in the tops. Like, he has to be going home and wrapping up his NHL career, right? Like, there has to be an answer here.
I mean, is that what you do? And a guy like Calle Jarnkrok is probably going over to his home country to finish his career. You play the living shit out of him at the end of the season. I never really heard of that. I guess he just seems to like him. Seems to be his boy. Did they give
you that treatment when you were done, or what?
No, and I'm not Calle Jarnkrok, and it was a different sitchy, but it's like, I just think like sometimes there's a guy on the team where it's like a Calle Jarnkrok and you're like to me, it was like Pierre-Edouard Bellemare and that was under Berube too. He like loved that guy and just played the shit out of him. And everyone was kind of like, what the hell does he love him so much for? Like, he just gushes over him. And it's like, what does he do really well? And he was a good player, but it's weird how some coaches fixate on one player. And it kind of get the vibe that Yarny is that guy for Chief and who that, I don't know why that is. Yarny's a fine player and whatever. It's just, yeah, it's odd. And I mean, if you don't like Yarncroke and they're playing the shit out of him, don't you like that right now during this tankathon? Is that me doing that?
It's not me. What was the question?
Don't you like that they play the shit out of Yarncroke right now? If you don't like Yarncroke that much, if we're tanking,
yeah,
don't you like it?
I need something to be pissed off at.
Yeah, I know. Fucking play Willie. He'll dog fuck it. We know that. Whatever, man. I just need them to lose. Like, I need them to lose. Only 3 games left, man. We're gonna know next week, and I'm gonna be some kind of pissed off if they give the 6th or 7th pick to Boston. Like, I was at a freaking crosswalk today in town, and a guy that lives, I don't know, a handful of doors down, and I let him in.
Hey, Rosie, you suck.
No, he's a Bruins fan, and he goes, Rosie, thanks for the pick next year. And I just about ran his kid over on his stupid little bicycle. I'm hearing it big time. I was like, it's not over yet, as I yelled out my window. Small town for you, but seriously, man, that is going to sting like hell if we give that high of a pick in a deep draft to them. You just watch that haunt us, man. We have got to get that pick.
It scares me.
I'm beating a dead horse. I get it, but it's the only thing I care about right now, like, at all.
Dude, like, my mind is so warped that I often have thought about this the last couple of weeks, a world where the Leafs hand the Boston Bruins a 6th overall pick, or even worse, they get to the draft lottery and a team pushes them out. And that would sting even more, because then you're the talk of the town. You're the laugh of the town yet again. I hate that.
You can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
I don't like, what can you do about that? That sucks. But like, playing the shit out of all your stars and working both your goalies, riding them like friggin' Seabiscuit. Yeah, man, fucking good for you. What are you doing? Look at all the other teams in the league in this position. They're taking a bad situation and making the most of it. Oh no, you're special, the Leafs. You're so special. All the pride we fucking watched all year. Yeah, okay. Let's be honest. They should have yanked Nyzy back in March. They should have limited the shit out of Willie's numbers. They should have called up Hildeby. They should have done all these things to benefit the goddamn franchise, but they're too good for it. Okay, well then just have a decade of fucking hell and see how proud and good you look. It's so dumb. I don't know, man. It blows my mind that literally there are a lot of things they could have done, and just it's like they weren't even. What's the pick we gave away? What happens if we don't get bottom 5? Like, wow, boys, look around you.
Of course, they play Florida on Saturday night too, and the Panthers, ho-hum. Seth Jones, the latest. Like, I mean, Stanley C. Panther, who's their mascot, I think he's next to be out of that lineup. Like, it's wild, the different approaches, and it would just be very apropos if the Florida Panthers were the team to knock the Maple Leafs off that pedestal of 5th or 6th overall. It would just be right on brand. And for a team that struggled to beat the Panthers for years, imagine this is when they beat the Panthers tomorrow night when it matters.
They're better at doing everything. They're better at winning when they need to. They're better at losing when they need to. If we get 5th and the lottery balls kick us out, once again, you should have done more to get 3rd or 4th, and you could have down the stretch in the last dozen games. And you were too good for it. Apparently, you're too proud of it makes me insane, man. Like, that pick will be a big difference maker if you're trying to retool or do whatever the hell you need to climb out of this bullshit. You draft stud D-man or something, or like different things could happen where it would affect you soon, and you need to get things going soon because you have nothing in the cupboards. Unbelievable that they haven't done more, and I'm just terrified it's going to come back to bite them.
The other thing, too, is Florida was even smart enough, like on their way to winning back-to-back cups. They're like, you know what? We're making this deal. We're getting Jones. We should probably make it a top 10 protected pick. You just never know what could happen in the NHL. The Leafs, on the other hand, you want this, you want that, top 5, let's do it. That's a smart thing, too. The Panthers put themselves in a position to get this pick, too, right?
Yeah, they do. It's I just can't go back to the deadline last year, and it's like, for Carlo, like an aging D-man they're not interested in with major concussion history, who doesn't play heavy or tough at all because of it, and you're going to give up a 1st and like a legit prospect who you've seen so many good things out of. And it's like, okay, well, we'll top 10 that. No, no deal. It's got to be top. It's like, are you kidding me? We just won the Atlantic. You're not going to top 10 that? And I don't know. Tree said they wouldn't do it. It's just like, how hamstrung do you get on these deals? It's kind of it's just this calamity of errors, man, as we're kind of used to when you break stuff down about this organization. I'm tired of it. I need change, and it's got to start with this pick.
I know we're going to bring in Doug in a second here. I got to ask you, though, it was brought up in the chat. So this year it's protected. So let's say they make the pick, then it's unprotected moving forward. Will that scare you down the road? What's to say this team turned things around, man?
Well, I mean, there are no guarantees, but I just the season that this was, you got to think some new bodies and new blood are going to get in there, and juices are going to be flowing, and they're not going to be this bad. They're still going to have, some of the talent that they have. That, I mean, have you learned your lesson? Like, do you have any balls? Do you have anything inside of you? Can you not rectify the situation? Can you just give me all that you have one fucking time and not have this grotesque experience that was this season as we're watching this heartless, pulseless team play? You got to think there's going to be better. And even a retool, which people are skeptical of, is got to be better than what we saw. So it doesn't scare me as much as losing this one to Boston, I'll tell you that.
Fair enough. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as we bring in former NHL GM and head coach. It is Doug MacLean. Doug, we need some positivity on this Friday. We are in a tough spot right now, bud. How are you?
Yeah, you know what's positive? I'm going to head over to the beach here in about a half hour and do my prep for the Kiprio show. So I'm in a great frame of mind. I mean, but that's what happens when you get old and retire. It's great.
Just work on that golf thing, eh, Mac?
I heard my wife at Christmas gave me a strength coach. She hired a strength coach, and I think between the two of them, the bastards are trying to kill me. So I hurt my back. I hurt my back lifting weights. So now I'm in physio 3 days a week trying to get the spasms out of my back. So I'm just going to slow it down. But I get spasms when I think about the Leafs, if the truth's known. But anyway, I can't wait. I'm reading names for this job, and I'm thinking like interesting names, and I'm thinking, okay, do they know where they really are? Do they know what really is the problem with this team and organization? It's going to be really interesting to watch the retool, rebuild, whatever they decide to do. And I was looking at, think about the organizations in the NHL that are the best NHL organizations. And you go down the list, you go Colorado, Dallas, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Montreal, Vegas, Bruins, Panthers, Anaheim. When you look at all those teams, even the Sharks with Greer and, a young coach, the one thing you look at about every one of those organizations is they have great, solid management. That's what they have. Think about Verbeek under Yzerman for a long time. I think he's done a really good job with the Ducks. And Sweeney's battled back after getting some criticism, but him and Neely are back. They look like a good team. Colorado with Sakic and McFarland. I mean, they're a good combination there. Kekalainen goes into Buffalo. They seem to have turned it around. I just, management is so important. It really is. And this isn't the time for play GM. This is a time when they've got to be serious about this position and who's going to get the job. And I know they've had a search committee going, or an agent, flogging his people. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what the outcome is.
Yeah, they hired a firm, Mac. They hired a firm, so they're on the right path here.
No, they hired an agent. They didn't hire a firm. They hired an agent.
Good point.
Who's got all the Gil Scott used to be the guy that had a lot of coaches, and now this guy's come in and sort of taken over. And he's, I met him. He's a buddy of Elliott's. He used to come in and watch games with us at Sportsnet every once in a while. And look, he's a good guy. He's got good coaches, good management people. But just have a look at what's happened to Vancouver. Think about the Canucks and where they were when Travis Green had them in the playoffs. And you say, and I'm sitting there saying, okay, Pedersen, Quinn, Horvat, all these young guys that were ready to take off, and look where they are today. Like a complete disaster. They're a little bit like the Leafs, but I think the Leafs are in better shape right now. So, picking the right GM is going to be critical, guys. It really is. And I don't know who it's going to be. I have no clue. I don't think I saw your name. I saw your name in there, Jay. And I mean, look, I know you've got a lot of experience, but I would start off, if I was you, I'd go to the American League first and maybe, spend a little time in the American League, or go and get your master's in analytics. That's what you really need.
That's going to happen.
I keep hearing about Carolina and the great things that are going on in Carolina. And yeah, they've done a good job there, but they just never win in the playoffs. And they got one of the best coaches in the league,
True.
So there's no magic formula. I mean, I love the Sakic-McFarland combination. And, CMAC worked with me for 10 years in Columbus. And he told me how it works there. I mean, they do all the prep on every big deal. They do all the prep. They do the video scouting. They do the regular scouting. They do the analytics. And as a group, they look at the player intently. Then they take it to Joe for the final decision. That's how it's worked in Colorado since Joe Sakic and CMAC have been there. And, analytics has become a big part in every organization. I mean, it was a battle for a few years. The scouts were fighting it. Now it's become, every organization, if they're not doing it and they're not using it, they're idiots. So to me, everybody's using it. And there's still mistakes made. So anyway, I'm rambling on, but,
Yeah, it's all right. You mentioned like you want someone to come in who hope they know what they're doing. And some of the front runners to take this job are kind of some obscure dudes. Would you lean do you think they're missing the mark on not, maybe promoting one of their 7 AGMs, like maybe a Shane Doan who's been watching this thing unfold the last handful of years? Maybe he has a strong idea of like, this is what's wrong. I see it every single day. Or do you think it's better to go out to some outsider and just hope he knows what the problem is?
Like Keith talked about structure and the way it should run is hire a president of hockey ops. Hire a president of hockey ops and do a really unbelievable, thorough search on who that president is. And, a guy that's got great experience and has been in the league recently. I don't mean a guy that's been out of the league for 14 years. I mean a guy that's been in recently. And let him hire the general manager. And then let the general manager decide in consultation with the president of hockey ops who the coach is going to be. Is it going to be Craig or is it going to be somebody else? That's structure where you let the people you hire do their jobs. So first of all, hire your president of hockey ops, and whoever that is, make sure he's got a ton of experience. Not some little that you've played games, like video games, like this isn't GM mode where you go on NHL hockey and you hit the button GM mode and you can make trades and you can do all of the things. So it's not GM mode, it's real GM. So that's what I'd like to see happen, and start with your hockey boss, who is the president of hockey ops.
Do you have any
intel
on
Dale?
Sonny
It's funny. A guy just asked me to put his name in today. I had coffee with Dale Talon, and Ron Hextall and Jeff Rimmer here, and Rimmer told us that Bobrovsky told him he could be a GM. I said, well, you should put your name in for the Toronto job then. If Bobrovsky told you could be a GM, you should put your name in. He's going to be a Hall of Fame goaltender. I'm kidding, but seriously.
I know. How about Talon and Hextall? I know you said you talked to them. Do they have an interest in a job like this?
Dale thought he had the job in Vancouver a few years ago, and for whatever reason, it fell up. He was scheduled to fly to Vancouver to accept the job, and all of a sudden he got a call saying, no, it was out. Something happened, and Jimmy Rutherford got the job. So hey, I think he's pretty, I mean, look, what hockey guy wouldn't want the Toronto Maple Leaf job? Well, seriously, what hockey guy wouldn't want it? Because it's still the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I go back here a bit, but look what Montreal did. They hired Gorton, who was a guy that worked for the Bruins for a long time. Then he went to the Rangers as GM and did a real solid job with the Rangers. Then he goes into Montreal as president of hockey ops, vice president of hockey ops to start. Now he's president of hockey, and he hires Kent Hughes. And all of a sudden, they've got a great model set up there between the two of them. That's what I'd like to see in Toronto, something along those lines.
Now, I've been bitching and moaning for a while now at how, the one thing they could get out of this disaster is a top 5 pick in a heavy draft where they desperately need some new blood to come in and some high-end blood where there's none to be seen. And, I'm watching the last 10 games and they've done absolutely nothing to help themselves. And then Pelly puffs his chest out, wow, we're above that. Absolutely not. We're winners. It's like, look around you. You have a chance to rectify or take something out of this season, and they just seem to refuse to. And it's coming down to the wire, and it's terrifying to watch who Boston could get and how that player will probably haunt the Leafs the next 15 years. What are your thoughts on what they've done down the stretch when they know the season is over as far as playoffs?
Yeah, look, it's that pick has haunted them all year, if the truth was known. I mean, that pick has haunted them. At Boston are still talking about, the Mitten, and I mean, it's haunted them. And look, unless they fix their back end, Jay, unless they get a group on the back end that can move the puck out of their zone, that can transport the puck, that can make plays at the offensive blue line to create, you have no chance. If you don't get 150 points from your back end, from your defense core, if you typically don't get 150 points from your back end, you don't make the playoffs in the NHL. That's sort of a, something as a model. So you need defensive guys, you need offensive guys. They don't have, I mean, Tanev is I love Tanev, but he's injured all the time. Love McCabe because of his character. I mean, they need this blue line revamped. So you can talk all we want, but it needs to be revamped to today's type of blue line. And that, to me, is their biggest problem. You can fill in holes up front, in my opinion, but the back end is a real issue. And their goaltending
Don't you think
is
getting
fragile.
a D-man? Don't you think giving a D-man a top 5 pick with a new age type of mentality would help them?
What I'm talking about is if you had the top 5 pick and you end up with a top young defenseman that has a potential to become a real franchise defenseman. The Schaefer kid is unbelievable, but there's all kinds of them around the league. You look at the way what's happening. Why is San Jose coming on? They got the young defenseman Will Smith there. Why has Buffalo turned it around? Because their young defensemen have finally come into their own. And if you don't have top young defensemen that are going to develop into stars, you have a tough time winning in the NHL. And the only way you typically get them is through the draft. Vancouver has to give up Quinn. I mean, how devastating is that, And then my buddy Tommy Fitz doesn't have the cap room to get him, so he gets fired. I mean, it just, So anyway, it's great to say we're going to retool, but how do you retool your back end? Explain that one to me. Who's out there that you can get to retool the back end? Ekman Larson, you like McCabe, you like Tanev, then you sort of stop. Where are we going next here? They're the bottom end. They're your 4, 5, 6. So it's complicated, and that's why that I hope Keith finds the right number 1 guy to start building the franchise. And that's the president of hockey ops, because he is the guy that's most qualified to pick the new GM. Not Keith, not the agent, But the president of hockey ops is the guy that's hopefully going to be best qualified to hire a coach. I mean, lots of people, we criticize Kyle Dubas. I happen to like Kyle. And Kyle, the cupboard's bare because he was desperately trying to win with this group. But I was talking to George McPhee. George phoned me the other day. He said, I'm out behind your place walking my dog. Get your dog and let's go for a walk with our dog. So I'm with George. And we're talking, and he said, who the hell is this coach in Pittsburgh? Where did he come from? He said, we said, I remember him when he was in the USHL in Chicago, and I remember he was assistant with the Rangers, and he was assistant with Nashville, with Laviolette. I remember him there. But obviously, Dubas did his homework and found a real good coach that has to coach Crosby and Malkin and company. Not an easy job. Not an easy job. I interviewed for the GM job in Pittsburgh. I was at Sportsnet. It was probably 8 years ago. And Jimmy Rutherford was interviewing me. He was the GM in Pittsburgh. And he said, what are you going to do as our GM when Crosby and Malkin tell you to F off on the bench? What are you going to do? That's what he said. I said, well, I guess I was interviewing for the coaching job. And he said, what are you going to do if they tell you to F off? And I said, they wouldn't tell me to F off because I would have stopped it before it ever got to that. I would have figured out what I was going to do on the bench before it got to that. You know that, Jay, from on the bench. Some coaches just go right to the limit. But so, I mean, give Dubas the point I'm making is Dubas obviously did a lot of homework on this guy, and he hired a hell of a coach. And he's brought a franchise back that everybody picked as a bottom feeder, including myself. And look at the season they've had. And it starts with the coach, in my opinion.
I want to go there next because watching the Leafs games lately, I don't know what to think about the future of Craig Berube. In fact, I think it was really bizarre that he's equipped enough, Keith Pelley to fire the GM, but not the head coach. Is there any world, do you think, where Craig Berube's back next season? I just can't see it, Mac.
You know what I mean? It's really, obviously Craig, look, he did a good job in St. Louis. He's paid his dues. I mean, he's been an assistant for a long time. He's in the minors. He's paid his dues. But I've never seen an organization that brought in, 10 new guys this summer? And guys, not one of them worked out. Not one of them worked out. Now, is that the GM's fault? Is that Craig's fault? All I know is none of them worked out, including Dakota Joshua and Waugh and all Michelli picked up some points. I mean, none of them came even close to what people had hoped they might be. So, I think it's going to be really tough for Craig, and I like the guy. I really like him as a guy, and I don't like to see him lose his job, but I think it's got to be a fresh start. I mean, obviously, Nylander and Matthews, I mean, the seasons they had, they got to figure out what's going on with those two guys and what's going to make them tick, because they've got to be a ton better if this team's going to have any chance next year to improve.
Yeah, they sure do. What's your prediction here on the weekend? What was probably slotted when they made the schedule to be a really big game is a really big game for a completely different reason here. What are your expectations here as they limp across the finish line, but that draft pick is on the line?
Do everything they can to get the draft pick. Everything they can possibly do to get the draft pick. That's what should be top of mind.
Yes,
Are they aware? They are aware. They are aware of that situation. Are they? I know the players don't care, but I know the players don't care.
You wonder sometimes watching them.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, they got to try to do everything they can to get the pick, but it may be a little late for that.
Yeah, it's getting down to, it's important this weekend what happens to some of these games. I just wanted to leave you with asking, did you have any intel on Sonny Mehta? I know he's been sort of linked to this job. We talked a bit earlier on about analytics. I agree with both of you. I think there should be a president and a GM working in cohesion together. But is there anything you can tell us on Sonny Mehta and his upbringing?
I thought it was Sonny Bono that's name was out there. But,
No.
I know. I would know Sonny Bono better than I would know Sonny Man. I know he's the analytics guy in Florida, and I mean, look, they've won, and I get a kick out of seeing how he is the reason they've got all these players. He's the reason they got Forsling. No, Bill Zito, I think, was Forsling's agent. I think that's how. I mean, Jones, he's the guy that got everybody there in Florida. I think Bill and Rick Dudley and Les Jackson and all their hockey senior advisors and Paul Fenton, I'd say they were heavily involved in the acquisitions with Bill Zito. I don't know that Sonny, I guarantee you he would have done the analytics work on them, which is really important. It's really important. But I can't believe he's the guy that was the instrumental in acquiring all those guys. When I look at the management team there, Bill Zito's is a big part of the management team, but Dudley's experience, Les Jackson's experience, Paul Fenton's experience, and they're all underneath Bill, along with Sonny. So good. It's a good organization right now, a very good one.
You shoot from the hip, Mac. Just to wrap, who's your president? Who's your GM? Who do you think they should go after here? You've mentioned a lot of names today. Give me an answer. You're Keith Pelly. Play the role of Keith Pelly for us, please. Or the firm, or both, or agents.
I'm not. I worked for Keith, and I really like Keith, but I'm going to leave that to him. I mean, there's lots of really good people out there. There's lots of really good people out there, and I just think that going with an inexperienced guy is really dangerous, and I think they've got to find the most experienced guy, and it may be asking teams for permission to talk to people. And, but I don't know who it should be. I guess I would say Kyprios or Jay would be the top of my list.
Someone's dicking around at Bet365 is my guess.
He's only plus 5,000 now for Rosehill to be the next GM of the Leafs. So we'll see what happens. Mac, can't thank you enough, man. Great stuff, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Take care, guys.
Thanks, man.
There's
Okay,
Doug MacLean, man. He is awesome. He is awesome. Shoots from the hip. And I think the biggest thing I can grab from that is that he really preaches experience and grabbing experience in this role. And he has his hesitations and his wonders about getting somebody like Sonny Mehta or somebody of that realm. Makes sense how he feels.
I know, but do you need this Sonny Mehta guy to crunch your numbers? Literally,
I love his name.
Chat GPT can crunch any number you want. It's just a matter of, are you listening to these numbers or not? And the thing I got from Pelly from that press conference is that he didn't think Tree Living relied heavy enough on the numbers people and the analytics. I mean, does Sonny Mehta, does he have some question to ask and some numbers to configure that no one else has thought about? And that's what makes him so great. I mean, okay, you got 12 people up in that MLSE building crunching all the numbers you want. What do you want to fucking know? What is important to you? What do you want to fix? Well, tell me everything that stands out. Tell me everything that contrasts against the successful teams in the league. I don't think it's that hard. The question is, how much value are you going to place on those formulas? And again, I thought Keith Pelly was referencing, I don't think we used it enough. I don't think we were heavy enough on it. I don't think we valued it. Okay, so get a guy in there that says, hey, I want to put 30% of my, weight bearing, decision making reliant on these numbers and this data. Cool. Do you need to hire Sonny Mehta as your general manager to come to that conclusion? I don't know. Like Max says, I think it's too important of a job. And you need to be more experienced in what this feels like, not only being a GM, but being a GM in Toronto. So the timing of it really sucks. There's not just par for the course for the Leafs, right? The timing's terrible. There's no standout general manager where you're like, there's your shining star. Now just offer him, pitch him, and go and get him. We don't even know where the hell to start. We don't even know which guy to pursue. It's Sonny Mehta is the top of the odds for the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. 2 weeks ago, no one has ever heard of his fucking name because he's not really been in the hockey world that much. I realize he was in Washington and and Florida. But like Max says, do you think all the decisions that were made that made the Florida Panthers what they've been this decade were on the back of Sonny Mehta? I don't know. I wouldn't bet the Leafs job on it.
I thought it was weird that the Leafs players are being asked, like former Panthers are being asked about the assistant GM in Florida. Like Steven Lorentz has any fucking clue about Sonny Mehta? Like, do you have any clue of any assistant GM that was working on one of the teams?
I don't even know who all the assistant GMs of the Toronto Maple Leafs, let alone Sonny Mehta in Florida. The guy was a poker player, for Christ's sakes. Like, what are we doing? Nothing against him, but just like that's the number one option right now. Why?
Because my upbringing was, I feel you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the options, there's no options out there, clearly, if Jay Rosehill's on the list. But my upbringing being a Leafs fan was, and again, I was privileged, I think, to grow up in that Pat Quinn era, and nothing's going to match that. But the Maple Leafs are synonymous for being dick swingers. Very similar to the LA Lakers in the NBA, or like Manchester United or the New York Yankees were. If they had an opening, they got the best option available, at least at the time on the market. And it doesn't feel like they're headed that way. And I'm not the person to say they shouldn't think outside the box. But to your point, I think it would be the smartest move to lead with somebody like a hockey guy at the top and then have an analytics guy as your GM. So you work in cohesion together, because it's two brains are better than one. Right. And so I think I'm going to reserve judgment on how they handle all this and who they bring in until we see the final structure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That Pat Quinn era is, there's no one like that. Like, has the Doug Armstrong ship really sailed? It's so funny how one insider will put out a little vague tweet and it's just like, poof, it's fucking over for that guy. It's so weird. And it just filters and reverberates to all the Vegas and the betting sites and everything. It's wild. Like, that was all anyone could talk about. It was like almost a formality that Doug Armstrong was coming to Toronto to get that job. And then just poof, right? And then a couple of people, I don't even know on what shows, talked about Pronger. And then it was like, Pronger's the guy. And then someone was like, I don't even know what happened there. And poof, that's completely off the table. Like, I wonder, and I hope that behind the scenes, Keith Pelly is sitting there going, I don't even know what's going on behind the scenes with all this, cycle of people bringing people into the fray and then shoving them out. And he's just quietly like still trying to pursue Doug Armstrong for all we know. I don't know, but I do agree with you and with Doug MacLean that it should be a guy that like feels right. That's like, I know what I'm doing. I've steered big ships before. I'm familiar with what's happened in Toronto. I've known for a while what the problem is, and I want to get my hands on that thing and rectify it as soon as possible and as aggressively as possible, because I've done this before. That makes my mind feel at ease compared to whatever the hell we're doing right now.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I reached out to somebody who was close to the situation in St. Louis earlier this week on Tuesday, asking about Armstrong and should we close the door on Armstrong. Their response, never say never, but people got way too excited about this without having any information. So there's a sliver of hope there still with Doug Armstrong. One day he could wake up and be like, you know what? I would be enticed by that opportunity. This is just my opinion. I think it's more an Armstrong thing. I think he's got enough credibility and credence and time and experience in St. Louis. If he went to ownership and said, hey, this is my time, this is what I want to do, they're not going to stand in the way. Why would they?
Perhaps. Well, why would they? Like, they value him. They've given him a 3-year contract. They want him to be part of their organization to get where they're wanting to go. They just traded their captain, Braden Shen. They've got things to do, and they want Doug Armstrong there for a reason. And they're like, sorry, Doug, you committed to us, and we're building a good thing here. And I realize, like, I don't know, why the fuck would what company's just like, yeah, take my best guy. It's so weird to me that everyone just assumes an owner will be like, like we talked about the other day, it's a business, it's cutthroat. Like, no, you're not going somewhere else. You're my fucking employee. What are you talking about? You're gonna go run. You're gonna go run another team. You're gonna go run against our competition. Like, you think the Pepsi guy has got a VP and they're like, hey, Coca-Cola just called me and I've always wanted to be a president. And they're like, good on you, man. Like everyone, yeah, we just hold hands around here. It's a business. Like I guess that makes sense. And once I mean, I didn't know Armstrong had just done a 3-year deal and he blah blah blah, and he moved and he changed roles. Everyone's just like, oh, he's not the GM anymore, so he must want to. It's like they must. And then once I heard that, I'm like, well, why is everyone just assuming he's gonna leave? And I guess that's how it works. You just poach guys and say, well, this is an upgrade, so I'm allowed to leave, right? This is a promotion elsewhere, so I'm going to leave. And when that happens, if a guy doesn't have a contract, they're just like, well, here's your new contract. You're staying around, or else they walk. And that's just, I guess that doesn't seem to be the position for Armstrong at this point in time. So I guess that's why it went away. But it just, my point was, it's so funny how one whisper and then he's the number one front runner across every page, and then one tweet and he's wiped off the face of the conversation. It's just interesting, man. And what we're left with is, I'm sorry to say, it really feels like slim pickings. Like, what are the top guys? Sonny Mehta, who's no one's ever heard of, and Gillis, who hasn't been a GM in the league in 15 years. Whoa. That's kind of wild that there's no one else available. Timing is shit for the Leafs. Weird. Call me shocked.
My defense, though, is like, I think a prime example is like Kent Hughes in Montreal has done a very, very sound job, and it's led from the top with Jeff Gordon, their president. I think that's sort of the frame of what you want things to look like, the framework of how you want things to look for this Maple Leafs team. And Kent Hughes at the time was an agent, and nobody really knew what he was capable of as a GM in the league. So it is possible that Mehta comes in, and if he is in fact the guy, and it all makes sense. But I understand your point. The Toronto media, man, we just escalate things. That's what we do. It's our fault, right?
Well, sort of, yeah. It's the nature of the beast. You mentioned
so that's
Montreal.
like the biggest memo.
They also did a painful
FYI, the Maple Leafs just put out a memo to Rosie just put out a memo to the Leafs. If you come calling for Rosie, don't even do it. Like, he's not taking the job.
I have a contract. It's not happening.
Yeah. Exactly it. Yes.
Right. I got my priorities. I'm already a part of a team here, you guys. Me, Vicky, and
I was
Nikki.
gonna add to somebody from the analytics community, or a scouting background, I should say, reached out last week when you had your infamous rant how you think AI is going to take over the analytics department of teams, and there was some severe pushback. He was a big fan of Jay Rosehill, but severely pushed back on that notion from last week.
I don't even remember what one I went on.
Yeah,
bitching about AI.
Dude, I got some long. I can't stand when people send me long ass fucking DMs on Instagram or like Twitter. Like, I'm gonna sit there and be like, okay, good show today. It was a show when we had Merrick on. I'm not gonna go into too much detail here. I don't want to give away who wrote it, but it was pushback.
Push away. I could care less, man.
I love Jay as he brings the heat. However, AI will not replace humans in an analytics department at this time, as it does not have the capacity for elastic thinking. And unless it is provided all the detailed information, it has no capacity for context and nuance. And even then, it can make questionable recommendations. Horizontals, verticals.
I think that's the point of AI, is it does have all the detailed information, more information than any man could ever handle in their mind. So that's the point of AI. Ask it anything, tell it to twist it. You want it to be elastic? Say, yeah, but lean heavily on it'll do anything you frigging want at a rate that is alarming, and it is getting better. ChatGPT 5 is going to be made by ChatGPT 4. That's how frigging good this thing is it's exponential. And I mean, I don't love it. I love a bunch of old school guys having a whiskey and bullshitting about the team and coming to a conclusion to go in this direction or that, but there's only so much of that you can lean on. These other number things are going to happen, but I just wonder why, when we know that and we already have 12 number crunchers in the office, why Sonny Mehta is the number one dude for the job. It's kind of, I scratch my head at it, to be honest.
No, it's fair. That's totally fair, dude. Any final words to wrap up another week of Leafs Morning Take? I think we're looking forward to this game on Saturday. Got the Panthers in town, tied in the standings. Maybe Ryan Twerberg makes his NHL debut. Maybe Will Villeneuve makes his NHL debut. That's the hope we have left in these final 3 games, Rosie.
Sorry, I fell asleep there for a second. I don't really even know what you said. No, I just need them to lose. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it, but I need them to lose. I will probably be a broken record next week talking about this draft pick. I think it is crucial to get it. Again, I understand you're going to kick it down the road, but if next year you give them a 16th overall pick in a lighter draft, it will not haunt your dreams like this one will. And we need it this year. It's an extra year. You want a year. You're going to waste a year of no first rounder that could become something important to your thing. And I believe that this rebuild is inevitable. They're going to waste another year retooling, and then they'll have to rebuild, and it will be inevitable. And that's going to take a certain amount of years. And losing this draft pick is only going to add one more year onto that pain that is inevitably coming. Because even as Doug MacLean said, okay, cool, you got Matthews and you got Nylander. Not that they've done sweet FA the last couple of years, but how are you getting that D-man? How are you getting that guy to build your back end around? How are you getting? There's not going to be any Matthew Schaefer, but look how good a stud D-man can turn your life around in the NHL. How are you getting that with the retool? Yeah, we need to lose against Florida on Saturday. That's for sure.
The other side of things, as mentioned earlier on, you look at Pittsburgh this year, you look at the Capitals last year, and I think it's a fair comparison. I think specifically, because you look at the Maple Leafs and you have those 2 star players, and we have our reservations, we have our wonders, but they're still star players, and that is a good place to start if you're looking to retool.
Good. Then use your star players and this fucking draft pick to pick up what you need and start off on the right foot and get ahead of the game, because we know we're in a bad spot. Good. Go win with Willie and Matthews. Good. But get this fucking pick, because you're going to need it no matter what.
Whoa.
Had enough of your bullshit this week.
Fuck you. All right. It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Tired of waiting for end of the game to get paid? Ready to move on to the next puck drop? That's why Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, has 3-goal early payout. If the team you're riding goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out early. Hockey moves fast. And now with 3-goal early payout, there's one less thing you have to wait around for. Bet365. Download the app and see what early payout's all about. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. Anything you want to look at, it could be Masters if you want. You got any Masters picks?
Ooh.
You play any?
I like Ludwig Oberg. He had 2 doubles in the first round, but he had it going on, and he is a stud, and I think that his value just went cranking to Lord knows what. Little sprinkle on him. But for the Leafs game, just take the over on the shots for the Florida Panthers. I need them to pepper whoever is in net, and I need them to get rebounds, and I need them to get 3 shots on every chance, on every possession. Just pump it, baby. We got to give the Panthers 2 points.
Let me quickly just pull up the lineup for the Panthers last night, man. This is what concerns me. Verhaeghe, Bennett, Samoskevich, Boqvist, Luosterainen, Greer, Schwint, Noshik, Gregor, Foote, Cunnin, Hinostroza, Forsling, Ludwig Janssen, never heard of this guy in my life, Bjorn Foote, Michael Benning, Merrick Ulsher, and Donovan Sabrango. That's their blue line. Their entire decor is out outside of Gustav Forsling.
They got a lot of heart. They want to work, and they got something to prove. So go and show us something, boys. I love it. I love those names.
They'll start Tarasov tomorrow, too. Watch. It's not going to be Bobrovsky either. It'll be Tarasov, their backup. If I'm the Leafs, man, play bad, okay? Just do what you've been doing. You're good.
Put the Zamboni driver in, for crying out loud. Actually, he's good, so maybe not. We'll see, man. We'll see. Need it.
I guess I got to make a bet. I would take the saves prop, whoever starts in between the pipes for the Maple Leafs. I don't know what game to expect, but the Panthers always give the Leafs a run. It doesn't matter who's on that roster. They just outplay them, outwork them. I like the Panthers in that game as well. Ray Rosie, that's going to do it for another week of Leafs Morning Take. You're not here on Monday. I've actually summoned somebody from the minors to be my co-host on Monday. Guy we just had on our show the other day. Bruce Boudreau is going to be my co-host on Monday. So looking forward to Gabby on Monday.
Gabby's come up from the Mindsies. I love it,
Yeah.
man. Good stuff. I wonder if I'll even get my seat back. Cool. I dig it. Good stuff. That'll be fun.
So we'll touch base on Monday. We'll have a full recap of Leafs Panthers over the weekend. We'll look ahead to the it was funny. Amazon emailed me the other day to ask about the broadcast on Monday and getting somebody to preview the game. I'm like, preview what? I was like, sorry. We'll circle back in the fall. That's what my response was. I don't need to preview Leafs and Stars Monday night. I really don't.
Amazon Prime asked you to go on and you said no.
No. They reached out to get one of their people on our show.
Oh.
I was like, cool. There's a game tonight. Didn't know that.
Oh, God. I don't. It might have been a missed opportunity, but hey, who am I? I'm just the number 2 chair guy.
Why? Who would you like on? Would you like me to get
this week, man? It's Masters weekend. I'm done. Tap.
Who would you like on Monday? I could book them right now. You want Scotty Bowman?
Both? You can tell us some stories, man. Get Mac back on so he can talk for 7.5 minutes between questions.
Dude, that was if we got paid per word in an interview, like we're millionaires today. Because I think we asked 3 questions in about 25 minutes there.
Who else was good at that? There's somebody that went on and we're just like texting each other going, I'm not sure what we do here. It wasn't Bowman, was it? It
might have been Scotty Bowman back in the day. The first time we did him. Yeah.
Sometimes the older boys, they love to rant. Yeah. I love it. Sometimes I just sit back and say, let this guy go, wind him up, baby. It's good stuff, man. No, it's all good. Good week. Great stuff. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're all going to die. Good week. Enjoy the Masters.
Dude, it's just a dark time. Just a dark time. But we have you covered here at Leafs Morning Take. Got the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget as well to check out theleafsnation.com. Thank you to Doug MacLean for dropping by. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Monday. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.